All right, we are going to get into this conversation with my guest, Justina Page. She is an actress in the industry. She works with burn survivors. She's got a story of her own. Y'all have got to check her out. But I want to get started by just kind of asking about her acting journey so that you, as you're watching, you can get ideas or look into some of the resources that have helped her and then start your own journey. But first, Justina, I want to hear your favorite joke.
My favorite joke.
Yes, if you have one.
Wow. Here's one that comes to mind. I have several, but my favorite joke probably has to do with it is a person who um, kept coming to the window, peeking in, trying to see what was going on. And you have this group of people over there counting 36, 37, 38. And they was like, why? What's going on? And when they peeked in, their eye got poked in, and then they were the next number.
Oh my
so,
gosh.
so it's like 39, but it was about being nosy, how we just can't, we just have to know what's going on. Just like, what are
Oh,
they counting? Then he stuck his eye in the hole and they poked and they said 39, and went for
oh my
it.
gosh. So actually a joke with a lesson. That's kind of funny.
Exactly.
That's a good one. Okay, so what all do you do in the film industry? You act.
I do
Awesome.
act and I do voiceover. Yeah,
Nice. Cool. And you do audiobooks, right? Or no?
I do.
You did
hmm
some. Okay. Very cool. What year would you say you officially got into acting? Or what is that story of you getting into
Oh,
it?
that's a most interesting story. I actually was told to clear my schedule. There's a movie that God wanted me to be in. And I was like, really? And I always keep a prayer team around me, and I'm always in a prayer group. I call them my accountability partners. So I went to them and I was like, Venus, I told them, I'm like, look, I'm just hearing too much now. I just heard that I need to clear my schedule. It's a movie God wants me to be in. And so one of my friends said, well, Justina, God always shows you things. If I were you, I would just do what he says. And I tell you what, I cleared Mondays and Tuesdays. Have no idea why no standard appointments. I wanted freedom on Mondays and Tuesdays. And that Saturday, Colin McDougall called me and asked me if I could be in a movie, if they could use part of my story in the movie. That's how I
Oh
got in.
my gosh. Crazy. So you had no acting experience prior to that. You had no resume, no reel, nothing. It was just God was
Oh,
like,
no.
clear your schedule, you're jumping in.
And guess when the table read was?
When?
Mondays and Tuesdays.
Oh, he is so good.
Yes, he is. So it's all him. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, awesome.
Well,
So,
I have to add this though,
yeah.
Venus, just in transparency, when I was younger, I was in drama in junior high school, and I was
Yeah.
in the drama club. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
he had already put that in you prior. You just didn't
It
know how it was going
was.
to be used later.
Well, no, what happened was actually very tragic. I had a very tragic event to happen that I don't care to really share, but and I just left the club, just left.
Oh.
It was
Oh, okay.
extremely, extremely tragic. Yeah. And
Oh.
I didn't even remember that I was in drama club until later on when I start being asked to be in this movie and that movie. I'm like, okay, Lord, you said clear your schedule. There's a movie you want me to be in. Now, am I going the right path with this? And then he reminded me he was pulling out of me that which he had already put in me back then. And he was dealing with that trauma.
Mm, mm. So amazing how he works. It's just wild. And like, there's so many of us out there, and yet he cares about you and your journey specifically. It just like, I just love
Yes.
it. Okay, so what's one of the first steps you took? So you got this gig, which just
hmm
kind of came out of nowhere. What's one of the first steps you took to kind of start pursuing the acting thing?
Well, I had to start with really feeling like I was worthy of it, if that makes any sense. And honestly, you're the one who helped me with that.
Oh.
I remember when you started the Powerhouse Sisterhood Suite, and I was like, oh, that is so good for them. You know, I had this separation, and I've always done that throughout my life. I've always had an issue, and it goes back into my childhood trauma and stuff, of not feeling worthy of things. Let me just
Mm,
put it that way. Like even when my husband, I didn't feel worthy to be married to him, and I didn't feel worthy of this or that. So with the acting, I mean, yeah, I acted in a couple of things, but I didn't feel like an actress. So I
mhm.
remember speaking with you, to be honest, and you asked me like, well, you're gonna join us? I was like, oh no, that's for the good people, the good actresses or whatever. And you were so reassuring, and just so I really highly esteem you as a person and your skills.
Oh, thank you.
But just the grace that you showed me, it was so comforting, first of all, and you made me believe in myself. I'm like, well, I can be one. So I think the biggest start is with yourself, how you feel
Mhm.
about yourself.
Yeah.
Is this something God will call me to? Well, yes, I can do this if God said so.
Mhm. So true. So true. Like the mindset, you got to get that operating first in the right way. So then practically, what is something you physically did? Did you go look for more casting calls? Did you get an agent? Like how did you start growing? You joined the suite. Like
Hmm.
what are some things like you practically did
Got
that
you.
someone
Okay.
else could follow in?
So the first thing I did was the resume.
Mm,
I'm real good at following instructions. The first thing you taught was about the resume. I remember that. So I
mhm,
pulled a resume together because I had never did that. I never had an acting resume, that is. So I did the acting resume. And then I said, well, I need an agent. That would be great if I could get an agent. But before to get an agent, I got a reel together. I got some clips from some of the things I've done, and the first reel I had someone do, and then I was educated more by you. You played a lot. If I ever go big as an actress, I owe a lot of that to you. I'm so
oh,
serious. I do, because I listened, and I sent it to you. I don't know if you remember this, and now
mhm,
you like, wait a minute, you want this to be about you. You
mhm.
don't, you clip this part out and move this here and there. And I did that. And I did the reel, I got the resume, and then I joined the Actors Access. And then it was another one that I joined. That was after the agent, though. I can't even think of the name of it because she mainly runs that one. And that was my process.
Nice. I love that. I love that you're like, okay, somebody that's a little bit further in the industry is telling me what I should do, so I'm just going to trust that and I'm going to do that. Whereas I think sometimes people are like, okay, they're telling me I should do that. I wonder if I should or when should I do that? But like you're like, nope, that's what needs to be done. That's what I'm going to do. And then it's crazy to see because I've seen your journey since you've joined the Powerhouse Sisterhood Suite of like, and you mentioned this at the end of our first year and you're like, when I came in, I had nothing. And then
Nothing.
now you've got like all this stuff because you keep putting one foot in front of in front of the other and like making it happen, which is amazing.
Well, can I add this? I think it's also important who you surround yourself with,
Hmm.
who's in your ear. I think it's wise to always have someone around you who knows more than and to listen to
Yes.
them. I think a lot of times we don't go further because we won't listen. Our ego won't let us listen, or I don't know what it is, but I guess maybe because that's one of my strengths. I'm a listener by nature. I always listen. I'm
Oh,
listening when other people aren't listening.
yeah.
But I listen, and then I try to do with people like I do with God. And what I mean by that is if I hear it, do it now rather than later.
Oh, oh,
Let's jump on it. Let's not wait. Let's not think it out. Let's just do it. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, that's good. Okay, so being a Christian in the film industry, is there anything that you do or don't do because you're a Christian? And is there anything, or do you have any struggles being a Christian in the industry?
I don't have one struggle being a Christian in the industry because I don't have a
Beautiful.
struggle being a Christian.
Amen.
I am a Christian before anything. Period. I
Yes.
don't care. All of this could go. I'm going to be a Christian. So that's that. My line is when it comes to nudity and um, just anything that I wouldn't want my savior seeing me doing,
Mhm.
then I don't do. Or even if I'm doing something like a bad girl part, which I haven't got to play yet. I guess people don't know I could be a really bad girl. But anyway,
Justina.
I really can. But if the purpose of that and the intent of that is to glorify God, that's okay. But to be that, just to be that and
Yeah.
glorify that, those are my lines. I
Mhm.
want stuff to be God honoring. I want my grandchildren to be able to watch anything I ever done. If
Mm.
it's something I'm doing and later on in life, my grandchildren can't watch it, then that's a no for me.
Yeah. And how did you or did you share this with your agent, like your boundaries and stuff?
Well, she was very open about that. She asked me, you know,
Oh.
yeah, she did. She asked me. I love my agent. I really
Mhm.
do.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I just, we discussed it and I told her, yeah. So
Yeah. So let's talk on that for a second. How did you get your agent? Because that's always a process that actors want to know.
nothing about my life is normal.
I love it. I love it.
It just isn't. I was at content. She was at content. I didn't know who she was. I was drawn to her booth because it was all in purple.
Oh yeah.
And I love purple. So I went there and said, "What is all this purple stuff? Who are you?" And I'm just smiling. And she's like, "I love your energy." And she said, "Well, I'm an agent." Da da da. I was like, "Oh, I'm looking for an agent." She was like, "You know what?" And she said, she told me, she said, "I think I'm looking for you." I was like, "Really?"
Oh.
She's like, "Yeah, here's my card. Why don't next week after we get back, you give me a call?" I said, "I can do that. And she was like,
Yes.
"Yeah, I have a need for someone like you on my roster." So that next week, again, obey.
Yep.
She told me when to call. I called when she said call. I didn't call early. I didn't call late. I called when she said. I think that's important. I know I keep rehashing that, but I think
No,
it's
it's
so
good.
important to do that. So I give her a call and we talk for like almost 3 hours. And I know
Yeah.
these people don't have this kind of time, but we go into depth. And so she said, "Okay, here's the end of the matter. I want you." So I didn't have
Oh.
to audition. I didn't have to do any of that. She's like, "If you want me, I want you." She said,
Oh.
"That's it. And we can start up paperwork now. Here's the terms. So that's how that happened. A
Oh
conversation.
gosh. Yes, I love it. Oh man. And for any of you guys watching or listening that don't know what content is that Justina mentioned where she met her agent, it's Content Film Festival and it's around Dallas, Texas, and it happens every fall. So you can look that up if you're interested in attending Content Film Festival or Content Media Conference. Okay, Justina, what is your favorite book or quote?
Ah, favorite book or quote.
Mhm.
Believe it or not, it's probably from my book.
Mhm.
Hope
Yeah.
is the heartbeat of survival. I
Mm.
believe that. I'm a big hope fiend. I've been dogged at the hospital where I work and hold support group meetings as the hope angel. But I think
Oh,
hope is what we need to make progress. Yeah,
yeah, that's so good. Where did that come from?
I wrote
Like,
it.
I know you said your book, but like, where in your life experience did that
Oh, that was
phrase?
from the house fire. That's when I woke up um, on a ventilator. I had been in a coma for a couple of months, and I woke up and I wanted to give up at that moment. My husband and his cousin and my pastor had came in, had told me I had lost my son, had told me we lost everything, told me how bad the other twin was, and how all my boys had been burned, and my husband. And I just felt like just giving up. Like,
Mhm.
what's the use? I had a 0% chance of making it. And then all I needed was, I just thought about my surviving kids. I'm like, they need a mother. And that was that palpitation in the spirit that I needed, that hope. And
Yeah.
that was that spiritual heartbeat that made me fight.
Oh, so good, so good. Okay, so going back to the acting thing, for somebody that wants to get started in acting, but they're feeling stuck or intimidated or whatever, they're not sure where to start, what advice would you give them?
Find a friend.
Mm.
Find somebody. I think sometimes we just need somebody to give us that push. That's the start.
Yeah.
Another thing is just make sure you're doing what God is saying. Everyone's not called to it.
Hmm.
You know, I believe I'm a strong believer in doing what God would have you do. And I think we're more comfortable, and it doesn't mean you don't feel intimidated. And that just because you feel intimidated, I don't want you people to misunderstand me. It doesn't mean you're not supposed to do it, but it sure helps to solidify. I'm where God wants me to be. Then build on that because He could push you and take you further.
Yes, 100%. Okay, where can people find you online?
Um, JustinaRPage.com,
Cool.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, all of those.
Cool. She is everywhere. Love it. Okay, Justina, any final things you want to leave for the audience?
I just want to say, I believe in giving people their flowers while I can, and I
Oh,
appreciate you, Venus. I really do.
yes.
What you're doing is phenomenal, and you're the real deal. And I think I
Oh,
appreciate that the most. I really, really do.
oh,
Keep going, being encouraged, and you all, the Powerhouse Sisterhood is welcoming.
yes.
I would join up if you need some help. That's the place
Yeah.
to be. And that I'm speaking for all my sisters in there. It's so many of them that I've formed some really close relationship with, and it's just awesome.
Yes, and we have actors from all experience levels, so total newbies to those who have been doing it for like over 20 years. We have as young as 18 up to like I don't even know how old the oldest lady is,
I
but we've
know,
got
right?
a huge range. Yeah. And
Yeah,
everyone's so loving and welcoming. Y'all are just amazing. Okay, awesome. Justina, thank you so much. I loved having you, and I'll talk to you soon.
awesome.